Good morning, everyone.
All right, so and now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Dr. Paula Roberson. Born, raised, and educated in Paterson, New Jersey, Dr. Roberson is currently the founding director of the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation, CTLI, at Hudson County Community College. She has over 35 years of experience in the K-12 educational field as a teacher, faculty member, principal, chief school administrator, executive assistant to the president, assessment coordinator, and director. Dr. Roberson continuously infuses social and racial justice programming into professional development offerings for faculty, by faculty, and external professional development in diversity, equity, and inclusion. She has completed the Bravely Confronting Racism in Higher Education certificate course at Harvard and the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion certificate course at Cornell University. Dr. Roberson believes that every person can empower underrepresented and marginalized people by unapologetically using their personal and professional influence, actions, and power for the good of humankind. All right, so now, Dr. Roberson, you have the floor.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ziggy. Good morning, everyone. I am Paula Roberson, Director of the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation at Hudson County Community College in New Jersey. I'm glad that you're here, and I am glad to be here. Today, I'm going to share with you my personal journey in creating the center and my experiences as a Black woman in white corporate America and how I got here. So let me share my screen. Okay. There we go. Here we are. So when I came to Hudson County Community College a few years ago, it was a brand new position in assessment, and I surveyed the land. I surveyed where I was living at because I'm relocated back to New Jersey. It was a good place to grow. I started an assessment committee, created documents, wrote monitoring reports, all within my first year of being here, and it was quite a bit. So I kind of broke ground and started planting seeds in assessment, communicated with the accreditors, and successfully navigated the institution through that process. I was glad to be up here to get back to work. I started updating my home. I built a previously non-existent office and processes at the college, and it was good for everyone. So the discussion was brought to me about the deanship that was to come, and I was very excited, and everything was good. Somewhere along the line, the microaggressions started to come after about a year. Things such as, "You speak so well. I am your boss. This is crap," and a lot of condescending tones. And I was really bewildered at these words. I didn't know what to do. So sometimes I just ignored them and didn't want to get into the weeds of what that meant and so on and so forth. So I continued and didn't let that trigger me, and I continued to move on with my work. At some point in the second year, some of the work began to get sabotaged, which is an experience that many people of color have when you're working in certain workplaces. Lots of condescending language. And the first and second time I was like, did that person say that? What do you mean by that? But when I got to the third time, I really had to put a stop to it because number one, it was disrespectful. So I followed the chain of command. And it began to build up on the inside. And because I was ignoring it, feelings of resentment, humiliation, embarrassment were building up on the inside. And I was having such a good time, I kind of pushed them to the side. They all create pressure. But we know that pressure bursts pipes and creates diamonds. So I still had free reign over my choice of how I was going to move forward in this situation. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions, maybe someone else's emotions, the emotions of people in the room, your cultural intelligence, and being able to manage yourself and your behaviors in this relationship. I did redirect and prioritize my feelings in this whole situation. So I capitalized on my mood changes. If it was not a good day, I used a sick day or a personal day or a floating holiday or a vacation day because I did not want to be hypersensitive. And this time had built up, and you know, in a workplace, you either use it or lose it. So I got kind of tired of second guessing who said what did they mean by that? So I would just break away safely. So I retreated to my home, which was a safe place. Now, emotional tagging tells you when to pay attention to something or someone, situation that's going on around you that you're involved in. Emotional tagging tells you what kind of action to take. It tells us what to do and helps us to make sense of certain decisions. So I thought about this, the safest action to take for myself, to not be offensive, to not react in hurt or anger, because being only one of 2 Black women in this organization at the time, I had to be very careful because, as you know, if you're only 1 or 2, you really kind of raise the flag for a whole nation of people. So you have to be careful. What I learned is that emotional intelligence ensures our happiness and prosperity. So being intelligent about myself, protecting my spirit, being in somewhat control of myself and my surroundings really helped me coming back to work each day and walking into not a hostile atmosphere, but an atmosphere that wasn't very nice. So I was aware of the emotions of others and the testosterone going on around me. So I had to be very careful in how I managed that without any real training. On the other side, at that particular time, after 3 years, and you know, pipes burst at my home. I had a new baby coming into the home. So I decided that when I would take a day or two, that I would completely immerse myself into loving that new baby who didn't have their mother or father at 6 weeks. At that time, I followed the chain of command up to the HR office to navigate the social misunderstanding. I needed to let my superior at that time, the person I reported to, that I was willing to do anything for him, but he had to speak to me in a respectful manner. And of course, there was some retaliation. Of course, he got a slap on the wrist and I got written up. But I did follow the chain of command. So I got moved around to another office, one place, one time, until the new leadership came. And when the new leadership came, I approached him and I said, do you want to build something? because I had this idea in my mind of a center for teaching and learning. I knew what I had experienced and we could build something together. I really didn't know how to go about doing it, but I was going to do it. So we talked about the Center for Teaching and Learning, and just a little bit, because this leader was brand new, and it got decided after we had that conversation when both of my reporting officers left the organization, that I would create this Center for Teaching and Learning. But little did I know I would be doing it almost solo. So how did I start? Each September, we have a college service day. And on college service day, we have workshops all day because that's the day faculty don't have any classes and we get to meet for an hour. The idea was presented to faculty. We brainstormed mission statements and the faculty voted on our mission statement to enhance teaching effectiveness, thereby improving student learning. The interesting item about this is that I met with the union leaders ahead of time and they crafted almost a 500-word mission statement that I shared with the faculty. I met with another faculty member who created a mission statement that was a paragraph long. At that time, I was not faculty, so I let the faculty completely take over this. So when we had our college service day, the faculty decided that this is the one they wanted by a vote. And I refrained from voting because I wanted it to be completely faculty-led. So we talked about the mission, what we were going to do, how we would start with workshops, who would do it. So the Center for Teaching and Learning workshops were basically by faculty, for faculty in their area of expertise. And that's how we got started. And it took about a semester to really get the workshops on board. During that planning semester, we started with a road trip. We rode out to and met with the Center for Teaching and Learning at Columbia University. The first group on top, as you see, we went out to their campus for an hour, and their faculty members and staff of the Center for Teaching and Learning gave us a tour of their area, shared documents with us, shared their strategies. And of course, we could not compare because they had 40 people in their Center for Teaching and Learning. But this is who we were, and we were just glad to get off campus and go visit someone, especially one of our sister schools. In the second picture below, we visited our sister college, Roberson Valley Community College in New Jersey, and we shared with them the same ideas, what they do, toured their offices, understood their processes that they shared with us. And then we put our information together that we learned from both of these. We also visited Middlesex County Community College in New Jersey, another sister college. And so we put all our information together to make a plan how we were going to carry out our plan and customize it to fit our campus. The other thing that was suggested to me is that we would create an advisory board to advise the newly minted center how to carry on and move forward in the best interest of faculty and the institution. So like I said earlier, on College Service Day, we formulated the mission. Faculty crafted the direction and developed pathways. Now, faculty are on our advisory board, so we receive input from division representatives. Faculty facilitated the professional development workshops, and we received constant feedback through surveys, word of mouth, from the administrators, how to move forward, including suggestions. And it was quite a bit for one person to absorb all at the same time. So the advisory board functions are their faculty from across the institution. They developed a 5-year plan. We also added a grant initiative with our small budget. We decided we would just give the money away to get more faculty included, created an application, which included elements of DEI. They had to have DEI, technology, assessment, and student success components within their year-long plan. So we continue to take recommendations from the faculty on how to improve and serve the faculty. Our partners at Hudson on our advisory board are the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And there's a lot more I can share about that a little later on. We partner with the Office of Faculty and Staff Development. Of course, our communications office that always publicizes the events, creates flyers. We partner with Student Affairs to make sure we had students on board. We had 6 students in our first year. We also partner with the College Life Committee, formerly the All College Council, to have an input as to what happens in and around the college. And lastly, we also partner with the Educational Opportunity Program. Our external partners are the Diversity Action Alliance, which is, they focus on diversity. You can join that. If you Google Diversity Action Alliance, just make a commitment that you're going to be committed to diversity in your institution, and you have access to free resources for the classroom, for presentations, whatever you may need, or also speakers. In my search for partners, I came across the Roberson Center for Social Justice, and they have been with us from the beginning. The Roberson Center has been here to present as well. We have a member on our advisory board. Another sister college, Passaic County Community College. Princeton University is currently on our board. Columbia University, who was with us from the beginning, they have since stepped down, but still support us. We also partner with Rutgers, the State University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, Middlesex County College, and Raritan Valley Community College, our sister colleges. Now, with the Diversity Action Alliance, the Roberson Center, Princeton University, and Columbia University, we have our advisory board meetings virtually so that they can join us. Now, it's not just one person. Columbia had 2, Princeton has 3, Rutgers had 3 people on the board. Roberson Center is just 1, and everybody else has maybe about 2 or 3 people. So in case one person couldn't make it, another person was there. They send me items of interest, information materials, conference sites, so that I can stay in the know. And they really are support for me. Incidentally, I am the only person in the office of the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation. So I value their support very much so. In our first year, I reached out to Temple University, Dr. Valerie Dudley, and she delivered pedagogical strategies. This was in 2018 on our college service day. So this way, every faculty and staff person present received that training. The Roberson Center for Social Justice also delivered training on LGBTQ and classroom inclusion strategies. We also reached out to our other offices, staff, student affairs, support staff to receive the same DEI training, because many of these people do face our students. So we wanted everyone to come in and be trained as well. From the very beginning, we partnered with the Association of College and University Educators. Faculty and staff take these courses voluntarily. They receive nationally recognized certificates at the end of their training. The very first year, AQ partnered with NYSOD, and they came in and did a 1-hour training or 2-hour training on their courses, and 50 faculty members were there, and they completed a module. So we signed on, and that module went towards the year-long certificate, and that's how AQ got started with us. During these sessions, faculty and staff developed professional camaraderie, developed community, and they improved their practice. They improved their professional practice. We have adjunct faculty professional development. And part of our adjunct faculty professional development is DEI training. So we have 4 Saturdays each semester for 5 hours, different modules, technology, DEI, conflict resolution, assessment, history of the community college, history of the college, and everyone comes together. We do this virtually. Pre-pandemic, we did it face-to-face. Since the pandemic, we've been doing this virtually, and I think it's going to remain virtually until they tell us we can't do it anymore virtually. But they also get DEI training. My goal is to have DEI training implemented for all first year or brand new faculty and staff members as mandatory training upon entering the college, but that's out of my wheelhouse, so that's just my hope. Now, with DEI very much front and center across the university, we are also including digital badging as a component of DEI in part of the center and across the institution. So right now we have 6 facilitators preparing to pilot digital badging through Badger in the spring. And that's the Center for Early Workforce Development and the library. Once we pilot it, it will be distributed across the institution, and everyone will be trained and developed in their own areas and receive badging as the criteria indicates. So immediately after the death of George Floyd, we had a virtual town hall maybe a week later. And of course, you know, that was during this pandemic. At that time, during the virtual town hall, we addressed the situation, hurt, anger, feelings. Everyone was emotionally tense at that time, so to say. And I offered a book talk, and this was completely off the cuff, to read White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. And everyone in the institution was on this call. So we did. We talked about it, and I didn't want to facilitate the whole book talk myself. So we had vice presidents, finance people, faculty members, and myself from across the institution facilitate a chapter. It was great. Nobody got hurt. Everybody was diplomatic and tactful. I learned that I really, really liked some of my colleagues. It was a mixture of races, whether they were Black, white, men, women, and it was really, really nice. So in response to that, I began to add in this was a summer book read that was immediately after the brutal murder of George Floyd. So immediately after that, in the fall, I began to add in culturally responsive workshops, such as the myth of the angry Black woman, maintaining interracial friendships in challenging times. And these were all conducted by our faculty members and faculty and staff, teaching Asian American history as a reparative tool against bias and discrimination. This was a study done by one of our faculty members who was completing her doctorate in this study. And it was a very popular and excellent workshop. So along with that, we have about 20 people in our institution going for their doctorates. So we began to showcase each faculty member to discuss their doctoral journey. Maybe it was about finances, maybe to talk about their subject matter, maybe to talk about supporting each other. How do you finance that? Understanding and managing your pathway through the doctoral program, and many more topics. And they were very popular workshops. So it just wasn't about cultural issues. It was also academics and what we were involved in as people. Incidentally, those workshops, the myth of the angry Black woman, maintaining interracial friendships, there was a series that Inside Higher Education had on in their weekly news offerings. And so I used that as a basis for creating those workshops. So the next year, my boss came to me and said, I want you to do another book talk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that means I have to read another book. Well, of course, we read books all the time. So I chose, stamped from the beginning, The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America by Ibram X. Kendi, an extraordinarily comprehensive researched book about the history of racism in America. Now, this was a statewide book talk. So we already read it at home and we came back and we would talk about it. 9 community colleges from New Jersey participated in this discussion, and each college took a part in facilitating the virtual event. So they took a part in facilitating a chapter. What we found out through this book was that the history of racism really not so much has to do with Black people, but it has to do with politics, economics, social influence, genealogy, biology, trade, global issues. And it was really a compelling read. So with that, I didn't want to leave the book talk with just saying, oh, that was a good book. We had a good time reading it. So that's how our Teaching and Learning Symposium on Social Justice in Higher Education began in year 3. There's too much to learn about the history of racism to pin it down into just the culture or the ethnicity or the origins of people. Is much, much more than that. So I decided, because of my experiences, and I didn't want to have that negative and hurtful feeling lingering inside of me, I put my energy into doing something positive about it where I was, through the position and the tools that I had, which was my voice, my office, and I was in complete control of this. So I said, well, we're going to do a whole semester's worth of professional development because it relates to what we're doing in the classroom, and it's all across the disciplines. So in year 3, which was February, March of this year, we had our first Teaching and Learning Symposium on social justice in higher education. We had from 7 states We had 47 colleges and almost 500 attendees participate. We had a mix of subject matters all across the board. We had 7 social justice agencies present and faculty from across the state, from the Mid-Atlantic region. And it was very well received. I got the support of my VP, my president, and through my president, I asked him to share it with the statewide presidents. And then I asked, the chancellor, no, the commissioner of education in the state of New Jersey shared it with all the colleges because he thought it was a good idea. So my point in all of this is to say that I could have just really stayed in the dark place of hurt, internal hurt and pain, humiliation, embarrassment, fighting people who really I couldn't really win with that way. But I took this teaching and learning symposium as my way of doing good and giving back and feeling good about what I'm doing to help others, to help students, faculty members in developing their curriculums. We had other colleges on board who presented. So immediately following that great symposium, the National Day of Prayer came about. So I went to my president and I said, I think we need to do a National Day of Prayer. Yes, it was met with some resistance, not by the president, because he said, go for it. So we did it. We invited leaders from various religious sects to the college to speak to whoever wanted to come, and it was strictly voluntary. And it didn't turn out so well. It was good on one respect in that they all came and they all cared and partnered with the college, but it wasn't a huge turnout from faculty. Some faculty did come. Was there resistance? Yes. But what I did after I asked the president if it was okay, I immediately went to legal to get clearance prior to even advertising this. So I got the documentation from legal. And of course I got some emails once I advertised it. Is this legal? Can you do this? Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. And I shared with them the email and we went forward. Now the leaders that came forward to participate want to do it again. I don't know if I will. I'm sure that I will because there's already been talk about it, but we will do it in a different way. I really appreciate the president allowing me to walk out and do this the best way I knew how. And then I had to partner with someone. So when you share ideas, you have to be flexible. And it didn't turn out as well as we would have liked, but we know going into it this year, we're going to do something different. So getting back to the Center for Teaching and Learning, the Association of College and University Educators offers courses like creating an inclusive and supportive online learning environment. We have running right now, we have creating an inclusive and supportive learning environment online, fostering a culture of belonging, and many other courses related to DEI. So, and this is a nationally accredited certificated course. We have Saturdays, adjunct faculty professional development. We have in the center, AQ Peer Share, Association of College and University Educators Peer Share workshops. So what that is that our AQ completers who've completed a couple of the year-long courses or the micro credentials, they come and they teach in the center to whoever wants to know what it's like. Should I sign up for the whole year-long course? Should I sign up for the micro credential? What do you guys do? So they have volunteered to teach those 1-hour courses. So we have 15 of them scheduled for this semester. We also have this semester, the AQ Professional Learning Community, so that those faculty and staff members who implement their practices can share what they learned, what they're doing, what they did, how it helped them, and just share knowledge. And lastly, we do have coming up in February, our National Teaching and Learning Symposium on Social Justice in Higher Education again. And so my president is very excited about it, my VP, and I have other offices and colleges who have jumped on board, and it's so exciting to know that I didn't hide in the dark place, but I was going to use that energy, my position, my power to do what I could to create an understanding of what goes on in the lives of people who are not like you, what you can do with your power to make a change, even though you may not personally benefit from it. So this is my baby, and I'm pleased to say that this is my part in making the world a better place, so to say. So this was our first teaching and learning symposium on social justice in higher education. I asked, and I was really astounded because everyone I asked, would they participate? Everybody said, yes, this is good work. And when you're accustomed to people telling you no, no doesn't really mean that much anymore. So all I said was, all they could do was say no, but nobody said no. Everyone said yes. So we had the chief communication officers of the ACLU. We had Dr. Lillian Johnson Edwards. She wrote the Amistad legislation in New Jersey along with other people. She's a scholar. She is a scholar and public historian. We had Maud Dom. She had an extended session. She's a Holocaust survivor, and she shared her story, wouldn't take a dime. And it was very intriguing and interesting. And she held us captivated the whole time. And she is available. And we also had the president of the Diversity Action Alliance. And she is the president-elect of the Public Relations Society of America. And she's part of the Arthur W. Page Society. And she closed out our sessions. So my point is that just keep doing good. Manage yourself, take care of yourself most of all. If you can't just, take a few days off, use your benefits to take care of yourself. And this is our upcoming symposium. We are having Dr. Wayne Frederick of Howard University come and deliver our keynote session. And that was really a surprise for me that he said yes. Fortunately, I knew somebody who he just said yes to. So we have Dr. Wayne Frederick coming. We have many more colleges coming on board, which is great because this is important work. People need to see different ways of doing social justice, diversity, equity, inclusion. And if you think you can't do anything where you are, you can. You can do something, whether it's changing your mind, changing your behavior, changing your thought processes, using your power from your position, from where you stand or where you sit to help make someone's life a little easier and just to change the way you are. You can control yourself. So that's a big help to someone. And that is my presentation for today. So what's coming up next? Hopefully next year we will be completely on the ground with concurrent virtual sessions. And one of my goals is for February is to do the state of Black New Jersey in higher education. As everyone knows, here in New Jersey, we are having a teacher shortage. And of course, that also doubly impacts the Black community, Black and people of color, Black Indigenous people of color. So that's what's next on my horizon. So finally, find your voice, use your position, utilize your power, empower people where you can, do your part in changing to a positive social narrative. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
So we don't have any questions, but Dr. Koch, who is also a presenter here, did have a statement. He said, just a comment, at my institution, we are doing book clubs as well. I participated in Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Sad. I am currently in a group reading The Leader's Guide to Unconscious Bias by Pamela Fuller. So he just wanted to share that, but there are no questions.
One of the things that I like to share about my book talks. Now, the book by Ibram X. Kendi was a very complex read. So we read ahead of time. What I did for the group, I went and got organized some notes and sent out to the group. So in case they didn't read it, they could still participate in the discussion, share their personal stories. There was one college in North Jersey that had, where one of the English teachers called me and she said, you know, we have all these Black students up here, these football players, and they keep getting in trouble. And I didn't know what to tell her, honestly, but she wanted to join the book talk. So she said they don't have housing for them, and it's a community college, which really they don't have housing here in New Jersey. They don't have housing for them. They keep getting into trouble. They tell me this when I'm tutoring them at the writing center. I come in contact with them. We need to do something. What can I do? So that was really not my area of expertise. Of course, I made some suggestions as just as a parent, an administrator, so to say, and then asked her to share it with her student affairs person. So my suggestion to her with the tool that I had was, why don't you come, share your problem at the symposium, have an actionable workshop where the attendees will make suggestions and recommendations for change and for help. And that's what she did. And I followed up with her. They have a program where these students will be mentored. So one of the things we have to understand, well, we think it's a no-brainer that students get mentored. Everybody is not there. People are in different places with DEI. Some people care, some people don't know what to do, some people don't know how to care, some people know exactly what to do. So she brought her issue, her institutional problem to the symposium in her workshop, and they ironed out an action plan which was implemented, and they did hire a DEI representative to help, for their institution, but also help manage that situation. So I was glad that I was able to help her open up her mind to thinking about this is not her problem all by herself. We also had at this workshop, the NAACP, they presented on the shortage of Black faculty members across the college, and not this college per se, but across the state of New Jersey. And he presented his action plan on how to recruit. So one of the issues he said is, it's not so much, where are you looking at? Because I can go out here today and I can find 10 people who are unemployed with doctorates or underemployed with doctorates in education or experts in their area. So he suggested, are you looking in Black issues in higher education, diversity news, places like that? Are you going out to the HBCUs and recruiting? So we partnered with them. We haven't hired anybody yet. That hasn't come open yet. But one of the suggestions was, where are you looking? Maybe you're not looking in the right places. So the institution has been very open to changing their recruiting strategies. and which I thought was very good based on the feedback and the session that Mr. Harris brought. So if there is nothing else, I'm grateful to be here, grateful to share how I use my power, my position, my energy in a positive way to help the college grow. As you know, our college has won many diversity, equity, and inclusion awards, and there's still a lot of work to be done. It's not finished. Thank you very much, Zivi, for having me.
You're very welcome. So I would also like to thank everyone for attending and participating in the Center for Teaching. That is not right. Participating in the Creating the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Innovation with Purpose session. Please enjoy the remainder of the conference, and I hope to see you guys in some other sessions. Everybody have a great rest of your day.